Okay, guys, so I'm actually looking at DestinyTrialsBoard.com. By the way, I'm going to post this link in the description below. If you ever want to check out anything in terms of trials, all of this is open for all of you guys. But essentially, I just kind of wanted to look at this. So right now it's showing 58,000 Guardians. And this is Sunday morning, all right? So we still have another day and a half before this is closed up. But right now it's showing 58,000 Guardians that have actually participated this past weekend. Now, if we flip over to PlayStation, 35,000 of those, or 34,180 of those are PlayStation users. Xbox equates to 18,667. PC is down to 5,196 players. They haven't even broke 1,000 flawlesses on PC, which is pretty rough. So there's two things we can take from this. Number one, the player base is obviously dropping off in terms of trials. Now, that's not the end of the world, because let me go ahead and just mention a few contributing factors to why player base is dropping off. Yes, some people don't like Team Shot the game. I get it. I understand it. I play trials through so many different metas, man. All the way from the very beginning, Thorn and Sunsinger meta, to what we're dealing with now, which is the Team Shot meta in Destiny 2. And I can say that a huge contributing factor for why I don't see players return to the fold and play a game of trials is because they get the gear already. I mean, and there's no adept gear. And then there's no gear that actually makes you a better player in PvP or in trials specifically, like you do from the raid now. Now, I know this is not something that the raid had for the past 6 months. But this is something that even in Destiny 1 we always had, was whatever activity you were pretty much going after, the gear you received from that activity made you better at that activity. And so this is something that's in just about every fucking game I've ever played. So to suddenly now not get that, it's a little mind-blowing, because despite Trials gear having all these beautiful, pretty ornaments and looking all dazzling and stuff, they do nothing for me. They help me in no single way when it comes to trials. But to put icing on the cake, not having adept gear, which is what we had, or adept weapons, which is what we had in Destiny 1, is a big killer. Look, I've got a bunch of friends that are not good PvP players. They don't play PvP much, but they would go out and literally get abused weekend after weekend because they wanted an adept doctrine of passing. Adept doctrine of passing. What does it really add? Nothing. It's just all, instead of it being the gold doctrine of passing, it's now the black doctrine of passing, and you get one little perk added to it, which was last resort. Did it make that big of a difference in terms of its ability? Not really, but it was just like the statement to say, I've got a weapon here that I went for the perfect score and I received it. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that yes, we are PvP wise in a poor state. I love the improvements though that I see in the PvE side. I love what they've done with the raid here recently, by actually giving you armor, giving you pieces there that make you better at doing the raid. And I'm hoping that trials gets addressed. Another thing I wanted to take away though, I said there was 2 points, was with the player base that you see there, the player base that is obviously way more active on consoles. This really should influence Bungie in their patch notes, in their sandbox updates. You see, the meta changes from system to system, right? So if you look at PlayStation and Xbox, we're looking at the top two weapons being Urios and Antiope, and then Xbox is Mida, Urios, but Antiope is there in third place. So they're pretty much all right there neck and neck, right? Well, if you look at PC, the number one weapon is Darkest Before, which is crazy, right? That's my baby right there. And then you got Better Devils under it. And so you see a different meta that is somewhat fleshed out in PvP in PC because of a lot of different things. Field of view is a little bit wider. You're able to just kind of account for a lot more, which I feel like really plays a role, as well as the reduced flinch. But what it really comes down to this, because I don't care about any of that other bullshit, because we played Destiny 1 with the same locked field of view, with the same locked frame rate for years, and we were okay with it. What it really boils down to is that the sandbox updates that are to roll out, I hate to say this, but it needs to leave PC players behind. Roll out whatever sandbox updates that needs to roll out to make the game better for the overwhelming 80% of your player base that is still actively playing, which is here present on Xbox and PlayStation right now. And whatever happens to PC happens to PC. See, I feel like a huge contributing factor to why we are having the same 450 auto rifle, meta that we're in right now is because they look at the statistics, they look at the numbers, and they see that there is hand cannons and pulse rifles being overwhelmingly used on PC, and they think, okay, no, we can't, because they want to keep these same sandboxes for the two. They've mentioned that they don't want to ever change the sandbox. They don't want to have two, like they don't want to do the way Overwatch does things, which essentially roll out 2 different sandbox updates for both sides and have different metas. No, they want to stay the same. So my statement here is, if you're going to stay the same, you need to appease to obviously the big player base that's still left, which is here on console, over your PC crowd. I hate it for you PC guys, man, but I know if you're like me on PC, I normally just play PvE these days. I don't even play that much PvP on PC anymore. So guys, that's that, man. I just wanted to talk about these points. These are some points I wanted to bring up. It's like, I would say Bungie shot themselves in the foot on a lot of different areas, but they kind of shot themselves in both their feet. You know what I mean? They shot themselves in one foot because they didn't make the loot rewarding in trials, which is the same thing they did to raids, which is the same thing what they did overall. I think what they equate this to when they're answering us is they equate it to, we're not giving you enough loot. Legendary Ingrams to me is not what I consider loot. That's become so common now, I don't even care about that. What I equate to be loot is actual tangible gear that I receive that makes me better at that activity that I'm grinding out for. And then of course they shot themselves in the other foot by still maintaining the same meta, simply because they didn't want to roll out 2 separate sandbox updates and 2 different weapon tune-ups, because they see that precision weapons are so commonly used on the PC side, which equates to 5,000 Guardians. Anyways, guys, I know this was a long-winded video, man. I just kind of wanted to, put some logic to it, and that's just my logical reasoning behind it. You see the majority of your player base is on console. Obviously, make the weapon tune-ups that is more applicable to console players. You see that a lot of people are dropping off in certain activities, and a lot of that's just related to not just the lack of loot. I think they keep thinking, give them a legendary Ingram or make exotics drop more. No, no. Give me gear that is going to be applicable to that activity. And so hopefully with the changes that we saw in the most recent raid, us PvP players will start seeing things. And by the way, I'm a huge advocate for a PvE getting better. If there's anything I want to see improve in this game, I want to see PvP improve for sure. But I love seeing PvE getting some good solid changes. I like our PvE players. I like our PvE community, and the more depth that is added to them is the more depth that we get in PvP. And so I'm all for that. Well, guys, that's my thoughts on it, man. Thank you so much for coming and watching this video, and as always, slap that like button like your mama told you right. So let's get closer.